So, do you guys remember that professor who said all he wants for Christmas is white genocide last year? Well, it looks like he just came out and made some more stupid comments. He blamed the Texas church shooting on whiteness, and I've seen things like this before. I've seen this from Talsum X. That's what's his name? You know, that white guy that is pretending to be black, and he's all over the place. I can't remember his name, but when this happened, he came out and said this is white privilege in action. And I always see this shit after like a white guy doesn't get killed in a a scuffle with police, or they apprehend him, he doesn't get killed or something, and they're always like, oh, that's white privilege. But like just a little while ago, like that Muslim guy who didn't get murdered with the police, and that other black guy who went to go shoot the church, and all this shit. There's plenty of times people of color. There was this black girl who was trying to set off a bomb just recently, as two cops were trying to stop her, and they didn't shoot her dead, right? So you don't see a lot of people coming out and being like, black privilege. This is because of her blackness and this. So this is why whiteness, whenever people use, oh, it's because of their whiteness and the concept of whiteness, it's complete bullshit. And I know people will say, it's like, no, we're not saying all white people. We're talking about the structure of whiteness and this and that. It's like, no, that's fucking nonsense. Okay, white is not an ideology. Yes, people did invent the term to a while ago to kind of lump all different types of white people together, but that doesn't mean it's a way of being, a way of acting, right? There are many white people in many different countries that act very different. And a lot of these shootings happen in America. They don't happen in a lot of other countries with predominantly white people, right? So this isn't like the whole SJW nonsense where they come in, it's like, oh, it's because they're losing their privilege, and when they lose their privilege, they lash out like this. And it's like, you don't ever hear people saying this when a Muslim kills 50 people. They don't come and say, oh, it's because of this, and they never blame them. They always blame the wider society. They blame racism or something like this. But whenever it's a white dude, it's immediately it's whiteness. It's because of the color of his skin, right? The most racist shit ever. And this is coming from a white guy, right? There's so many of these self-hating white people everywhere, and they're teaching our fucking students. This guy was a professor, right? And there are plenty of professors that say stuff just like this. There are plenty of examples of people saying this stuff, or of them hitting kids in the head with bike locks because they're crazy communists that are running around with Antifa. So, like, this is why the youth are so messed up and are so prone to socialism and hate freedom of speech and, like, hate capitalism and all these things, because of teachers like this that are blaming a fucking massacre on whiteness and white privilege. It's like, no, it wasn't that. It was his fucking, like, mental illness and, like, a bunch of other reasons, like, prior to that or something. It has nothing to do with the color of his skin. Just like when people are accusing black people of murdering people in Chicago and stuff, they're not doing it because of the color of their skin, right? So, and I'm not saying there are not differences in races and genetics or whatever either, but all I'm saying is you can't just blame everything on that's so stupid. I hate when people invent a culture around a skin color, right? It's like, oh, the black culture, the white culture. It's like, those are the only two. There's no, like, yellow culture, brown culture, right? So these terms like this, the white culture and black culture, like, these are clearly invented to separate us, to divide us. Like, white and black, not necessarily. That is more just to categorize and stuff. But the whole saying that like you act white, you act black, like that is fucked up. That doesn't make any sense. And you shouldn't have people like this teaching kids, because that's why they grow up fucking hating themselves. That's why when they see signs that say it's okay to be white, they freak the fuck out and they think like, oh my god, this is hate speech. It's because of people like this. And like, this guy's an open communist, right? This should be considered just as bad as Nazis, but for some reason we let it slide in society, whereas more people have died because of communism. You know, you can split hairs and say Maoism and Stalinism and whatever, but it all derives from communism, right? So we should revile that. We should hate that just as much as we hate Nazism. But for some reason, we think it's a good idea to put them, make like fluff pieces in news in the Washington Post, or to put them in our educational systems to teach our fucking kids. Like, it's complete insanity. That's why, like, there are no conservatives in university, right? It's not because they don't like education, they don't like to learn, they hate learn stuff. It's because they don't want to be fucking, they don't want to waste their time listening to crazy mofos like this. But, you know, that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day.